Canada's recent choice to increase its oil exports to Japan with a 0% tariff has caused a stir in global trade discussions. This move has heightened tensions between Ottawa and Washington. The decision follows closely after Canada deepened its trade relations with China. This development has intensified speculation about a major shift in the country's energy policy. For years, the United States has been the main purchaser of Canadian oil. Now it must confront the fact that its northern neighbor is expanding its energy export markets. This diversification is a response to rising trade pressures and evolving global economic conditions. This move, seen by some as a direct challenge to American economic interests, has sparked debate on both sides of the border regarding the long-term implications for North American energy security. For decades, Canada has been a reliable supplier of crude oil to the United States, with nearly 97% of its oil exports flowing southward. This relationship has been largely beneficial for both countries, allowing the US to secure a stable and cost-effective source of energy while providing Canada with a lucrative and consistent market for its vast oil reserves. However, recent developments in trade policy have introduced new uncertainties into this long-standing arrangement. The Biden administration's push for greener energy policies, coupled with increasing regulatory hurdles for Canadian oil imports, has left Ottawa searching for alternative markets. The introduction of tariffs on Canadian energy products by the US government further complicated the situation, forcing Canada to re-evaluate its export strategy. Amid these tensions, Canada has turned to Japan as a key energy partner. Under the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership, Canada can export oil to Japan at 0% tariff, making it an attractive alternative to the US market. Japan, which is actively seeking to diversify its energy sources and reduce dependence on Middle Eastern oil, has welcomed this development. The country's growing demand for liquefied natural gas and crude oil aligns perfectly with Canada's need to diversify its export destinations. Alberta's energy officials have been in discussions with Japanese counterparts to strengthen this partnership, emphasizing the benefits of Canadian oil as a reliable and geopolitically stable energy source. The move to redirect oil exports to Japan did not happen in isolation. Just days before this announcement, Canada also struck a significant energy deal with China, signaling a broader strategy to expand its presence in Asian markets. This dual approach reflects Canada's growing recognition that reliance on the US as its primary oil customer leaves it vulnerable to political and economic fluctuations. By establishing new trade relationships with Japan and China, Canada is not only securing its economic future but also positioning itself as a key player in the global energy market. The shift is particularly significant given the geopolitical tensions between China and the United States, adding another layer of complexity to the already strained relations between Ottawa and Washington. Despite these strategic moves, there are significant challenges to Canada's efforts to expand its energy exports beyond North America. The vast majority of Canada's existing energy infrastructure, including pipelines and refineries, is designed to serve the US market. Redirecting a substantial portion of its oil exports to Asia will require major investments in new infrastructure, including LNG terminals and shipping facilities on Canada's west coast. While projects such as the LNG Canada terminal in British Columbia are already underway, it will take time before they can support large-scale exports to Japan and other Asian countries. Additionally, logistical hurdles such as shipping costs and transit times could pose challenges to making Canadian oil a competitive alternative for Japan. The response from the United States to Canada's shift in energy strategy has been mixed. Some American policymakers view this as a betrayal, arguing that Canada is turning its back on its closest ally in favor of economic deals with Asia. Others see it as a natural consequence of the US government's own energy policies, which have made it increasingly difficult for Canadian oil to compete in the American market. The introduction of new tariffs on Canadian energy products was widely criticised by Canadian officials, who argue that it forced them to seek new buyers for their resources. For Canada, this decision is not about abandoning its relationship with the US, but rather about ensuring long-term economic stability by reducing over-reliance on a single market. For Japan, this new energy partnership with Canada represents a significant step toward energy security. Japan has long been dependent on Middle Eastern oil, a dependency that has left it vulnerable to geopolitical instability in the region. By diversifying its oil imports to include Canada, Japan gains a stable and secure source of energy from a country with strong environmental and labor standards. This aligns with Japan's broader strategy of reducing its carbon footprint while maintaining a reliable energy supply. Canadian oil, particularly from Alberta's oil sands, provides a dependable option as Japan transitions toward a more diversified and sustainable energy mix. Beyond the immediate economic implications, this shift in energy exports also has broader geopolitical consequences. Canada's increasing alignment with Asian markets signals a growing willingness to assert itself as an independent player in the global energy landscape. This move could encourage other energy-producing nations to reconsider their trade strategies, particularly those that have traditionally relied on the United States as a primary buyer. It also highlights the shifting dynamics of global energy demand, with Asian economies playing an increasingly dominant role in shaping international trade patterns. Looking ahead, Canada's decision to prioritize energy exports to Japan at a 0% tariff marks a pivotal moment in its trade policy. While the transition will take time due to infrastructure limitations, the long-term benefits of diversifying its oil markets are clear. Canada is positioning itself as a key energy supplier to Asia, reducing its dependence on the United States and ensuring a more stable economic future. For the United States, this development serves as a wake-up call regarding the need to reassess its trade relationships and energy policies to maintain its influence in the North American energy sector. As this situation continues to evolve, the long-term effects of Canada's energy shift remain uncertain. Will the United States modify its trade policies to maintain its status as Canada's leading oil buyer? Will Japan deepen its energy partnership with Canada by investing in new infrastructure? And how will China's role in Canadian energy exports influence future geopolitical dynamics? These are crucial questions that will define the future of North American and global energy markets in the coming years. One thing is clear. Canada's decision to expand oil exports to Japan at a 0% tariff is more than just an economic move. It is a strategic transformation with wide-reaching implications that will reshape the energy sector for decades ahead.